What's up, everybody? Think International. Jeff Morse here with David Wakerley, the pastor of Hillsong Kids. How you doing, man?
I'm feeling fantastic. It's good to be here with Think International right here.
There it is, Think.
The following content is brought to you by Elevate Conference, a children's, preteen, and family ministry leadership conference from Next Gen Ministries. Go to elevateconference.ca/think to get access to free leadership videos and resources.
Now, being the creative director as well as children's pastor, right, for the Hillsong Kids, you're always having to come up with new things, new ideas, and really capturing kids that are being so captured by culture. How do you stay on top of trends and everything that's taking place?
There's one really practical tool is there's a magazine called Kid Screen. And it's a industry magazine for the children's entertainment industry. And if you can go online and check it out, and there's a lot of fascinating articles on that about entertainment for kids. Now, the thing about entertainment for kids is there's a huge amount of money poured into that, a huge amount of research, because these entertainment companies want to know what will reach a child. So in the same way, you can look at Disneyland and go, hey, they've spent the money. Let's just kind of emulate what they're doing. You can look at this magazine, see what the entertainment options are, see what's really capturing the imagination of this industry, and then just go, okay, what can I learn from this? And I find it very invaluable because these people are paying the money, and they need to see a return on their investment. So that's one really practical way of doing it. Perfect.
Now, with kids, I remember when I started doing ministry, people had pagers. And then eventually there were cell phones, and now only adults had cell phones, then teens had cell phones, and now more and more kids are actually having smartphones. Have you heard of, are you doing, or any kind of creative and innovative ways to, instead of, shunning the kids and cell phones, actually incorporating that into what it is you guys are doing?
It's a tricky one because it's expensive. Producing content or integrating them can be an expensive thing. One of the most significant apps was just released, probably the most significant in the last few years for the iPhone, and that's the YouTube Kids app. Okay, this is probably only about a month ago from when we're recording this right now, and for me, it just kind of happened. It launched, woohoo! But I'm seeing that is probably the most significant app that's been released for kids because it can just people can miss this opportunity because what YouTube is saying is they have a huge audience. It's the number one website for kids in the world, YouTube. So that's where our kids are already, right? Yeah. And so Google knows this, YouTube knows this, and they've gone, this is our audience. But hey, I think our parents might be a bit nervous letting our kids onto YouTube, as I am. Right? Totally. As we are as parents, as we are as leaders, because there's content on there that just you don't want your kids seeing. It's a wide open space where we feel like, you kind of want them a little more in a cornered off area.
Exactly.
Quarantined area, right? So this is what they've created, a quarantined area of approved videos that only show on this app. Okay, So there's a lot of things to learn from that. First of all, that's where they know where the money is. It's with the kids on this app. It's with the content. We as Hillsong Kids are approved to be in this app. So we were a lot of our content that we produce. I want to be ahead of the game. I don't want to be going, hey, how come we're not here? We're in the game. We're on that app. Right. So for me, it's seeing the opportunity there and going, okay. That's where the kids are of the world, literally, and this is where I want to be. And it doesn't matter, even the content, for me, as a leader, you're either a consumer or a creator. If you're a consumer, all you do is you're the same as everybody else. You just watch television. Right. You watch videos. If you're a content creator, you become something very different and something very special. You become automatically a leader. If there is a classroom of kids and one of them makes videos for YouTube, every other kid, that's an automatic path. That's just they know that you can. When I grew up, you couldn't make a television show. It was too expensive. It didn't have the tools. Couldn't do it. All our kids know that you can, right? And so why wouldn't we? Why we should be doing that. So for me, that's when I'm thinking about. The space that we need to be in, that's what I'm thinking about.
Wow. That's great. Sean Cannell, one of the guys that does Think here, he he has a whole thing called YouTube for Churches. And I think that's brilliant, especially, never really thought about it on the children's end of creating children's content for YouTube that you could even use to engage your children's ministry. And that's stuff that you guys are doing. Awesome. Kudos, man.
And
Kudos.
it doesn't need to be the most brilliant content in the world. Like it can be some of the I've often looked at shows online and it's single camera, just sitting there. If you're talking directly into the camera, you've got to be engaging. You've got to make it short and snappy. You can't waffle. The introduction has to be 3 seconds, 2 seconds long, and then you're straight into it. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. But what would you talk about? You talk about the things that are going to help your kids, but be entertaining. So I've often thought about. What would I do as a show like that is top 3 things you never knew about Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
It's that list mentality, which is BuzzFeed.com, one of the biggest, from going from $0 to $1 billion in a year or so as a website. We're talking, this is a company that is on the fingers on the pulse, and it's ridiculous. Their content is just absurd, but it's reaching very far and wide. Every second thing on your Facebook feed is a BuzzFeed article. So it's that doesn't have to be super expensive, but you have to be super good. and super fast and get to the point and entertain. And if you do that, then you can get the views. You can have a big influence in that area.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for everyone watching, we'll put in our down in our description some of the links, especially to YouTube for Churches. And what you said again is just being snappy, getting right to the point. It's awesome. Have you found like an attention span with some of the kids and stuff that you guys oversee? Some say it's shortening. Now, again, for video, what would you say is the attention span for a kid?
Well, you want to do, I would say, if you're doing something on YouTube, it's got to be, there's the long form and the short form. The long form is 7 minutes, right? That would be, you don't want to do anything longer than that. The short form is under 3 minutes. Those are that's just off the top of my head. I haven't, but that's my feeling is what we try and produce. If it's something longer, you want to keep it 10 minutes at the max. Right. There are videos that my own kids, find engaging, and they'll watch, but they're not going to watch for 20 minutes. They're not going to watch for 15, maybe 10, 7. So there's kind of the window. And if you look at, it's probably a good study. In fact, it's probably something you can find online. What is the average length of the most popular YouTube videos? Just do the research. Because that's the great thing about the internet. The research is already there.
Yeah, Google it. Exactly.
Google it.
Have you found attention spans shortening for your actual children's messages? Have you found a sweet spot for engaging your kid, the kids? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 20 minutes? And if so, what helps elongate, I guess, the message?
Right. Well, my theory on attention span is, I see both sides of it. Yes, we've got attention spans obviously are shortening, but sometimes I think it's just because we're not doing a good job of connecting with our kids in the right way. And so you can tell a story and just keep every single kid in that room. I've seen one of my good friends, Funny Man Dan, we call him. He's a big deal in our ministry. He's on trading cards and he's on videos. Everything that I do with our Hillsong Kids content is me and him working a lot of it. So I've seen him hold a room of 4-year-olds for, I think his record was almost 30 minutes without a word, without one single word being said. He just holding a microphone and dropping it. That's it. And the kids were laughing. Not one kid has walked away for. I think his record was 30 minutes. I think. And not one word was spoken. It was very much Mr. Beanish or that physical comedy. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're good, attention span doesn't really matter. And if but you have to be really good.
You got to be solid at what you do. So much of culture right now is changing, especially for our young people. We have all the social media that's really kind of up the bullying and stuff that takes place. For our kids, there's a lot more happening, when it comes to their sexuality, even from little kids, what they're being taught is okay, or, how have you not reacted, but responded to this in your ministry within dealing with all of this stuff?
Okay, so I guess sexuality is the topic. We started talking about it with our preteens, so 10, 11, 12-year-olds, okay? A few years ago at our summer camp, I'm like, we have to talk about this.
Yeah.
And so what I did is I sent in the registration to summer camp, there was my notes. What is here? Hey parents, here's what I'm going to say to your kids about sexuality. And it said, give me a call if you've got any concerns. Got a couple of phone calls, but I don't generally, I try and do it without even saying the word sex. We just talk about purity. We talk about living as God wants us to live, and it's not about rules and regulations. He wants to keep us safe. He wants to guard our hearts, and so that's the angle we take on that.
That's great.
Bullying is an interesting one. It's we've got to be very careful. One of the best things I ever learned about bullying is that bullying is not a once-off thing. Bullying becomes bullying when it's constant, when it's ongoing, when it happens all the time. That becomes bullying. So do not get confused by some kid getting angry in a moment and picking on another kid once off. That is not bullying, that's just a moment, right?
Yeah.
When it becomes that every single week, every single day, that becomes bullying. So don't get hung up on that. A lot of leaders kind of freak out with the single event.
Right.
Do not never freak out, first of all.
Right.
But don't. You've got to realize that bullying is this constant barrage, and that is the key. So if that is happening, then you've got to really just. It's a far bigger question than a church. It involves the family, the parents, the school. There's a lot that needs to happen there. Our kids. The great thing about bullying. Not that it's a great thing, but the thing that helps bullying is that it's very much in this public school system in Australia. I know our kids got a whole day of it talking about bullying, and I feel like it's a big enough topic of discussion within the school system that it's being addressed in a good way, and there are good resources at least to help you back up how that's being addressed. And then coming back to you're just talking about the content on the phones. Look, you have to create that quarantine for your kids, and you have to take responsibility for that. I can guarantee if you come to my house and use the internet at my house, first of all, if you visit a site that that is inappropriate, I'll know about it because I track everything on our network, and I have a filter that will filter out all of that stuff, so you shouldn't be able to find it in the first place. But not just what sites they go to, it's the search terms you use. So here's my house is a quarantine, it's safe, I'm a nerd, I know how to do it.
Sure.
But if you can't say that about your house, then you are failing as a parent, and you need to do a better job, because the average age that your kids will access pornography is 11. So that is. So I get pretty full on with that. With the if I have an opportunity to speak into the life of a parent, I'll go pretty hard on that, because a lot of people just have no clue. And if I can walk into your house, access your Wi-Fi and get on sex.com or whatever, then you are not doing your job.
What do you guys do at Hillsong to partner with parents in the children's ministry?
We do well. It's a great question. It's the big question. It's the question that kind of needs to be answered by a children's ministry. I think what we do is not enough. I think I can safely say that. What I'd like to do is more, really is what I'd like to say. There is a sense which we want to work with the milestones in a kid's life. So salvation, baptism, starting school, going into high school, all these, I guess, these transitions, these moments in kids' lives, we want to even dedication, baby dedications, all those moments, if you can make them extra special, if you can, like when you're holding a baby in your arms and you're dedicating him to the Lord, you're never more receptive. In that moment, you'll never be more receptive to hear a message about the fact that, hey, just come to church. Then we as the church can do our job, and we can help you do your job. But if you come once a month, once every 6 months, it's really hard for the church to do the job that it's called to do.
Yeah, totally.
So they can hear that then, and they can go, oh, cool. But you catch them a couple of years later, and that can just kind of go over their heads. So you've got to take these moments, and you've got to really maximize them.
What do you have any ideas as far as how to partner with maybe the local schools? That's where a plethora of young families would be, and that's where a ton of kids are. Is there something maybe that you're doing in Australia that could spark some ideas for people really all across, Canada, all across America, and even the world? It's very particular to Australia. In New South Wales, every public school
has a legal requirement to provide 30 minutes of religious education.
Wow.
Which is in certain states of Australia, especially in our state that I'm in, New South Wales. Now, that's amazing God-given opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, that relies on the church providing volunteers to lead those, and parents can opt out of it. There's a whole bunch of things around that. But we see that as our primary outreach. We don't try and do giant events all the time. Well, we do that, but that we're not trying all these little ideas. We just go, there's an opportunity, let's do it. Let's make the best of it. And we try and do as many classes as we can in schools. And then we can extend that and make that into maybe a lunchtime club or after school clubs, whatever it is. That's really where the opportunity is. So we, rather than trying to create something or dream up this incredible ministry, already find the opportunity. Just it's out there.
Yeah.
The schools, what do they need? There's fantastic programs, even from organisations like World Vision. Have mentoring programs that, as an organisation, they are the background, the backbone of it, and you can go and implement that in a school. Being a mentor in a school is amazing.
Yeah.
And so look for opportunities like that. Look at the organisations around your world and see what they are doing, because it's far easier to go in with a big organisation like a World Vision into a school, because that's recognised and it's, you know what I mean, rather than you just kind of going in by yourself. So we just go, where's the opportunity? Let's do that.
Perfect. Now, for those of everyone watching and stuff, how can they connect with you? Resources that you provide, the website, Twitter, all that different stuff?
Yeah, we're all over the place. We're Hillsong Kids on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. We'll all be under those. Facebook's going really well. It's a great blessing for us. Not just to connect with kids though, because obviously you need to be 13 to have a Facebook account. Right. But that's really for connecting with leaders and for parents, right? Yeah. So all of those are on those channels. A YouTube channel is massive for us. I feel like the more than anything else, the YouTube channel is big. So definitely YouTube, Hillsong Kids on YouTube. All that stuff, hillsong.com/store is where you can get any of our resources. Perfect. Ship all around the world. But I'm pretty active. We like to keep active on those, especially Instagram for us is a big one. Yeah. Not because it's the biggest, but because it's the way that our church, it's pretty much what our church leadership uses. Yeah. And so it's not that it's the biggest, but it's the one that we really resonate with as a church. Awesome. So you'll find a lot of Hillsong stuff on there.
Cool. Hey, David, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good stuff. David Wakerley, Think International, Elevate Conference.
So thanks so much for checking out this video. Check out links in the YouTube description for everything talked about in this video, and subscribe on YouTube for more videos to help you grow your leadership and creativity. We'll talk soon.
So if a train left Chicago traveling at 37 miles an hour, how many people are on board?
There's 4 people on board.
So I'm out of questions. It's been great to be with you on Think International. Yep. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel at thinkinternational.com.uk.sy. Yep. And you'll be seeing more of...
.c3po.
.c3po. You'll see more of nonsense coming from the conference, Elevate Conference Above and Beyond, just like Toy Story. Back to you in the studio, Chuck.